Review, book one is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. You either take control of your clutter or your clutter will take control of you. And of course, no other than Miss Takilla Combs. Welcome, welcome. You're muted, Mr. Killa. Please do come again. Please do say it again.
I said, Hi, Daniel. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, welcome, Mr. Killa on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yes, no problem. So, my name is Takilla Combs. I'm a professional organizer and a life organizing strategist. I'm also the owner of Extreme Audacity Organized Solutions, where I help people to rid their lives of clutter and chaos and help them create systems that save them space, time, energy, and money.
That's what we like it, Mr. Killa, to save money. Money come to me, as they saying.
Yes.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us. And today let's talk about why clutter is not the problem. Systems are. So, Miss Tequila, you work center on a powerful reframe that clutter is not really the problem. Systems are. For someone who has spent years feeling ashamed of their messy home, what do you want them to understand about what's actually going on beneath the surface?
Yeah, so that saying of clutter is not the problem, systems are. That just means that you see clutter, you see the chaos, you see the physical clutter, you may even see your life seemingly to be uh, filled with clutter and chaos. But actually, if you don't have systems in place, what happens is even if you decide to get organized and you get rid of all the clutter, it's going to creep back up because you got to have systems in place in order to maintain the um, the organization that you've created. So you can't just get organized. You can't just think that clutter is like a one and done. You get it all out and then it's automatically, you never have to deal with it again. You have to put systems and structures in place in order to maintain that organization that you've put in place. So you have to create systems that will actually save you space, time, energy, and money in order to maintain the order that you've put in place.
Very well said, Mr. Killer. You often say organizations is a lifestyle, not a magic. What's the difference between chasing the magic or one time clean out and actually building lifestyle that sustains order?
Yeah, so we see the TikToks and the Pinterest pretty pictures, and we think that that's what organization is. Well, yeah, that looks good in its order, but that what you see is the magic happening when you decide to get organized on a real level. It's going to take more than doing that Pinterest pretty picture that you saw on Pinterest or Instagram. You have to create a lifestyle around it. So that means that how are you getting up in the morning? How are you going to bed at night? Are you doing meal prep? Are you scheduling and planning the days where you're going to do laundry? So you make it a lifestyle. It has to fit your lifestyle, has to fit everything that you do on a regular basis. Because if you think about it, we do almost the same things almost every day. We go to work, we go to school, we wear clothes, we use dishes, and if we don't have systems in place to maintain those, our lifestyle starts to get convoluted and clouded with all of the mess and the clutter. So, in order to keep the calm, to keep the peace in our homes and in our businesses, we have to put those structures and systems in place to create it as a lifestyle, not magic.
Lifestyle indeed. So, Miss Tequila, you identified that hidden cost of clutter is not just about the space, it's about time, energy, peace, and even money slipping through the cracks. When a client walks onto your office feeling overwhelmed, which of those costs tends to weigh heaviest on them?
The peace,
Mm,
absolutely the peace. They can't see themselves how they're losing the money. They really can't see the time being taken away from them. What they feel is the chaos in their body, in their minds, in their spirit. And it's actually the first thing to kind of be resurrected once we start getting organized is the peace. They start to feel more alive. They start to get more clarity and have a sense of peace. When you're cluttered and living in chaos, you get drained and you don't really see all the money going out the window. You don't see all your space, like your space starts to close in more and more because of the clutter, and it causes you to lose peace, right? And when you're losing energy, you start to lose peace. So peace is probably the biggest thing that we feel the loss of, and it's the quickest to actually feel it like we're getting something back.
yes. Definitely. As a president of the National Association of Black Professional Organizers, you're helping shape an entire industry. What unique perspective do you minority and women owned organization businesses bring to conversations about home space and systems?
Well, the community is for n- non um, the organization is not just for black people, it's for any person of color. So you don't have to be just black. However, we are a community that we focus on the marginalized, the people that are not actually have access to like the big corporate organizations that cater to professional organizers. They are very expensive and can be costly. So we wanted to make a place and an environment for people that are on this journey to becoming a professional organizer or already a professional organizer and want to learn more about the industry and even just want to have community, a place where they can go, where they can talk about their issues, talk about their wins, and be praised and celebrated. Talk about just everyday things that are happening in the industry that are kind of unique to us. So, as non-white women, we don't have the same access to certain things, and we have a different point of view than someone that is white. So we have a different type of conversation on our platform and with our peers that allows us to kind of um, get to know the industry a little bit better and make things a lot easier for the next generation. Now, we do have allies that actually are white, and they love us. They very much support our organization. They We see them at events. They sponsor events that we have. So it's a really been a blessing. It's been in conception for 9 years now, and I've been a part since the beginning. And it's just a great space for us to come together and have the conversations that need to be had on the back end.
A blessing indeed. So, Mr. Killa, you developed the SYSTEM or Systems Framework. Save your space, time, energy, and money. Walk us through the acronym. When the system is working well, how does someone experience each of those four savings in their daily life?
So, as far as all of those areas, if you think about it, when you're looking for things that you already know you purchased, you're losing energy, you're losing time, and in some instances, you're losing money because you go out and buy the thing again because couldn't find it. You're losing space because you have multiple of the same things in your home that you don't really need or not using. So it really drains your space, time, energy, and money when you're not organized because you are expending more of the things that you really should be saving. So you're expending more of your space because our space does not get bigger, it doesn't grow. It actually begins to shrink the more things that we put inside of our home and inside of our space. We're losing time, energy, and money almost simultaneously. It can be different in some instances, but when you are not doing your meal prepping, you're not doing your meal planning, you're not planning for laundry, you're not planning for school activities, you likely spend more money on those things, more time than you would have if you had planned ahead. So, doing our meal planning, planning when we're going to do our laundry so that we don't have to go out and buy new underwear because all of them are dirty. Uh, planning when we're going to do, you know, uh, take care of the groceries and bring groceries in and knowing what we actually have in our kitchen so that we won't be buying things that we already have. All of that is losing when you are cluttered because you don't know what you have. So when you're organized, you are able to save in all four areas: space, time, energy, and money.
Very well said, Ms. Tequila. You observe that behind those glossy organization or organizing photos are budgets that don't match yours, families with different habits, and maintenance that is not realistic. How do you help clients release shame of not being able to sustain someone else's
Not being able to sustain what?
standard?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all about being self-aware. You can't try to put somebody else's system in place. You can't be worried about what someone else is doing. You always have to focus on what it is that you want, what it is that you desire, and what it is that you need. If you focus on someone else's standard, you will always fail. We even fail at trying to reach our own standard. So, how dare you try to reach somebody else's standard? You got to live and create a space and a life that works best for you and then elevate from there. Trying to reach someone else's standard is basically it's an equation for disaster because it's almost impossible. You got to do what's best for you and create systems in your home that works best for you and create like structure and scheduling and planning into your life that works for you.
What can people do that works for you? You've worked with countless clients, from busy moms to seniors to professionals. When you walk into someone's home for the first time, what are you observing that they might not see about their own patterns and habits?
Yeah, I'm observing like what's already in place and I'm listening to what they're telling me that needs to change and I'm listening to what they're not saying because oftentimes what they're not saying is the good things that are actually working. They're mostly telling me about what's not working. So I also take a look at what's working so that we can do more of that. But looking and listening to what they're saying is not working also helps you to create the equation of what's actually working and what to do more of. So if we focus on while I'm listening, I'm listening to their shame, their hurt, their guilt, all of these things, but I'm also looking at what's actually working for them, even though they can't probably see it. I can see past the clutter and chaos and I can see possibility.
Possibilities indeed. You talk about starting small as one of the essential tips. For someone paralyzed by the overwhelm of a whole house, where the one place you tell them to begin, and what makes starting point manageable?
Yeah, so one of the first places to begin is managing your schedule. I know that might sound counterintuitive. It may even sound like, I don't want to do that first. I want to get my space organized. But in order to get your space organized, you have to schedule it. You got to schedule the time where you're going to be decluttering and organizing. You have to schedule the time where you're going to be getting coaching about decluttering and organizing. So, managing your schedule is the first place to start. Then I would start with the space that you feel like could probably be an easy win, somewhere that it's not too bad, and that you feel like I can probably get this done quickly. So start there, and that's a way to start small. Conquer that giant, that small giant, and then you move on to one that's a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger until you build that system or structure that you put in place on how you declutter, how you get organized, how you purge, and the system that you use. You use that as a small win, and then you keep building to the greater areas. And I call them zones. So your kitchen is a zone, but inside your kitchen, we have mini zones. So we have the place where we prepare food. We have the cleaning area, which is going to be where your sink is, your dishwasher is, and your cleaning supplies. Then we have where we do our meal prepping. So that's going to be like where you have the knives and the cutting boards and all those things. And then we have the place where our Tupperware is. We have the place where our cups are. So all of those are considered mini zones, which you want to conquer those one at a time if you're doing this alone without professional help.
Beautifully articulated, Mr. Killa. And you offer a virtual organizing sessions to clients everywhere in the world, isn't it? So how does someone through system change when you can physically touch their space? What's the different and what's surprisingly the same?
So you're asking what's the difference between an in-person client and a virtual client?
Online, yes, please.
Okay, gotcha. What's the same is that they don't have structures and systems in place. The places that are their prime real estate, such as the kitchens, the closets, all the places that we touch on a daily basis, those are usually the most cluttered. What's different is going to be based on their lifestyle and how they differ, and if they have multiple kids, if they're single, if they are entrepreneur, if they're a day like a corporate America person. So how, not necessarily the physical clutter, all of that's going to be different. None of that's going to be exactly the same. I have never had two clients that are the same, and I've never helped two clients exactly the same. So every case is different, but what is the same is that whatever high area that they use the most, what I call the prime real estate, those are usually the most cluttered.
Mm, very well said, Mr. Killa. And you've shared a beautiful personal story about your late grandmother, Annette Combs, and how you taught her to organize her groceries list by category, saving 30 minutes every week. What did the experience teach you about how even small system change can transform daily life?
Yeah, so that's funny. I love that story. So my grandmother used to send me to the store to get her groceries, and she created her grocery list based on the meals that she was preparing. So whatever protein she was having, veggies, side dishes, that would be on the list. And then she would go down to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So she had it organized for her, but as the person that's going to the grocery store for her, it was not organized for me. And it took me quite a few times to really see her rhythm and what she was putting on the list. And so then I asked my grandmother and I was like, Granny, can you organize your list like this for me? So that when I go to the store, it'll be easier for me to start getting the groceries, and not running over here, then running back to the protein, then running back to the veggies. And so what she did was she started making two lists. She made one for herself, and then once she got that complete, then she converted everything over to the list that she created for me, which made it so much easier. What I learned in that process is that now, mind you, Daniel, I was not a professional organizer. This was way before I began organizing people's stuff, space, things, and time. But what I learned was that um, sh- we do things that work for us. That worked for her. And even when she was capable of going to the grocery store with me, because before I started going for her, I was going with her. I would take her every week. And we wouldn't have this issue. And because she knew where her stuff was on the list. But then when she started sending me, I had to look at the list and see, okay, well, this doesn't work for me. Let me see if she'll create a list that will work for me. And so you have to do things that work for you. That's what I learned. Creating systems that work for you. So we created a system that worked for her, and then she created one that worked for me so that I would not spend so much time in the grocery store. And I love my granny. She's gone, but I love her.
Oh, thank you for sharing that story, Miss Takilla. So empowering. You emphasize simplicity over complication. What are the signs that someone has made their system too complicated? When does the solution become part of the problem?
When they find themselves overthinking about it, if they're overthinking about should I do this? Should I do that? Or is this working? Is this not working? Or they can't find the things that they thought they organized. So having to think too much shows you that you are not, you're overthinking and you've complicated the process. Your organization and system should be what works for you, and it should cause you to have to think less. And it should be like an automatic, what you naturally do, where you naturally put your shoes at, where you naturally put your coat on at. If you put your coats on in the mud room, it doesn't make sense to have all the clothes in the closet by the front door if the mud room is near the garage. We got to create a space by the mud room to put our clothes and shoes and whatever else, book bags, all those things need to be by the mud room. It doesn't make sense to have them in a closet by the front door. So you got to figure out what works for you so that you won't get flustered and be confused by a system that's not working for you.
Very well said, Mr. Killer. And to wrap up our discussion for today, if our listeners take away only one principle from this conversation, one fundamental truth about why clutter is not the problem, the system are, what would you want to be based on everything we've learned as the life organizing strategies?
Yeah, I think the one thing that we want to take away from this conversation is that you got to have your calendar and your systems in place. You can't just be kind of winging it all the time because that makes your systems break down. You want to have a schedule, you want to have a calendar, you want to have all those things wrote down that are important to you because if they're not in your calendar, you're likely not going to do them.
Yes, certainly. Yes, so Mr. Killer, can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Yeah, one of my favorite books is The 12 Pillars. Now, it has nothing to do with organization, but it's by Jim Rohn and Chris Wilder. And it really taught me that success is built through daily discipline. Again, it's called the 12 Pillars. It reinforces that structure creates freedom. It helped me to organize myself as a person and not just the physical act of organization, but who I am in my development. I really love the 12 Pillars by Jim Ron and Chris Winder.
Thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Killer. And can you please invite the listeners to support your business or projects or any projects that you're doing right now?
Yeah, so my business is extremeaudacity.com. That's AUDACITY.com. I have a master class coming up. I would love for you to join me during that master class. If you follow me on my pages, any of my social medias, which are Extreme Audacity and Takilla Renee, you can find out more about the masterclass, and it'll also be inside of my newsletter. So just subscribe to my newsletter. You'll get all the details, and I would love to have you.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Takilla Combs because if you support her for sure, more and more empowering advocacy like this to rise. So, Miss Takilla, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Marty, come people, see you soon.